You're watching TVC Breakfast. On this segment, we're looking at the minister's nominee or ministerial nominees that the president has submitted to the National Assembly. It was done last week, and as it is, the screening of those nominees is expected to take place today at the National Assembly complex. And we're looking at all of these issues around it. What are Nigerians expecting from these people, and the composition of the list? Are they satisfied, and what will be the task ahead? These are some of the things we are talking about. And we have Razak Olokoba here with us, as well as Adedotun Ajulo, helping us to make sense of this. All right, now, Dr. I was asking earlier, before we went on the break, that a lot of Nigerians expected that the personality of someone like Tinubu would have had, you know, a list of some of these kind of people shortly after the election, to the level where some people expected that on the day of inauguration, after that inauguration, Nigerians, a day, 2 days, or the week of that inauguration on May 29, that the list of nominees would have been out to hit the ground running and so on. But here we are. It's just now is out.
Well, in my reaction, I'm going to align myself with the very extensive submission of Mr. Olokoba earlier on. The popular saying is that it is not how far, but how well.
How well.
Either you like it or not, the list came out before
the deadline.
Deadline of 60 days. And let me correct an impression. Issue of having 40 names, 40 persons listed as minister, is not a matter of the Constitution.
Okay.
It's not a matter of the Constitution. The basic constitutional requirement is that ministerial appointment from each state of the federation. And maybe if you add the FCT, what we should have is 37. So for whatever it is, the Constitution is not clear about, okay, this deadline, you have to meet it up by submitting 28 names, or going ahead to submit the 36 or 37 names, so to say.
So the number is not a constitutional issue?
It's not a constitutional issue. The issue of number, what the Constitution only required of a constituted presidency is, see, there must be ministers from each state of the federation. So it's not about, okay, there must be 40, there must be 41. There are even arguments, there are issues as to this duplicity in ministries, where you have a substantive minister, you are going to have a state minister. I read this somewhere that this particular government is going to do away with that. And as far as some of us are concerned, there is no even basis for such. So having come this far, all we'll be expecting from this team of persons who have been enlisted is come. Nigeria is in strategic need of those who could take governance head on. Like, it has never been this tense. It has never been this serious. Talking about the economy, talking about the naira devaluation, talking about the dollar inflation, and all of that. So, we've not waited too long, as far as I'm concerned, for us to have these men on board. Now that they've come on board, let us have them taking governance head on. We should have them taking governance head on. So it's not about, thank God for the constitutional amendment. It was a case of having ministerial appointment in this country almost about 6 months after coming into swearing of a president. We've had it in Nigeria now that you see state governors now coming into power, and in 6 months they are not even appointing commissioners and the rest of it. So it's not even about the timing, but it's about coming in and doing what it is expected to salvage the current situation that we're all into. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have an issue with that. Issue of 2 months, meeting the deadline. The president has met with the deadline. There is no constitutional requirement that says, so you have to bring 40 people on board at the same time. For all you care, before the expiration of 4 years, you might have to reshuffle cabinet. You might have to let some persons go to bring in new persons. So it is all about taking it up as fast as possible. Taking the governors on as fast as possible. So for me, I don't have even though I have my reservations about the list, maybe basically what we expect. Like other Nigerians, I must say that is a reflection of it takes us better than where we are coming from, whether you like it or not. We can see in this cabinet for a very long time we're having someone as young as 36 years old in the cabinet. I think the last we had in the last government was about 44 years old. So in as much as I would have loved to see a cabinet whereby we are not going to have ex-governors forming part of the cabinet, but it is what it is. A lot of things go into play. Before now, we've seen several lists. I won't be surprised if, going back to what we saw on social media, your name was listed as one of them. So a lot. So it is what it is. You cannot separate governance from politics. And this is the very first time in the last 16 years that you are going to have a cabinet that is being constituted whereby you have persons from the opposition parties, in quotes. Even though, persons,
more than one,
even though one will have expected that, okay, if you are talking about national unity, you're forming a unity government. One will have expected that, okay, parties should come on board, party leaders should come on board, let us talk, let us discuss. But don't forget, they are still in court. It's even prejudicial for anybody to say, okay, we are coming to say one. So one will have expected, okay, national unity is about the leader of a Labour Party, the leader of PDP, but it is what it is. Again, as a politician, whatever it is, you are not going to go and bring your enemy on board for whatever it is worth.
Yes.
Persons that you bring from the opposition to form national must be persons that shares your idea. They have a semblance of what government, what you have in terms of idea, in terms of strategy in its head. So a lot of very impressive thing about the list. So for me, the most important thing is the deadline was met with.
Okay.
And we should take governance on from their place.
All right. Okay. Razak, a lot of persons felt that this issue of attaching portfolios to ministerial nominees before it is sent to the House, some people have argued that you would have cleared the way for proper scrutiny and proper narrowing down to the specifics of what you have been selected for. If you are selected to be the Minister of Health, for instance, we dissect the issues around health and all of that. If you're selected to be or nominated to be Minister of Education, and all of that. But it is still the norm of sending lists there. The moment they are approved, bring it back, and then the president begins to, fix who into the box of which ministry, and so on and so forth. What do you make?
Well, it's not important. If you have a strong institution, you don't bother so much about someone who's going to be the head. The institution will tame you, even if you are not qualified. We have had a president in America who may wish to send all immigrants away. But because of the kind of system we have in America, it upheld what they stand for, which is that America is home for everybody, and a model and a standard for the rest of the world to live by. So his personal view did not sail. But if you admit the president of a country that does not have institutions that are strong, and what do I mean by strong institutions? When political class have undue influence over critical sector of governance. When you want to appoint the head, political class will influence it. And that's what we're saying. And once you have limited influence of political class on our institutions, the president will now have to come and replace his IG or replace his chief of army staff. But as long as you have it this way, any president that will come after 8 years, as the case may be 4 or 8 years of Tinubu, you will also sack the IG and sack the army chief because it's an appointee of the previous government. That makes our institution weak. So in Nigeria too, once a political class have a clearer understanding of what the party manifesto is, it can serve in any ministry. Fashola served conveniently as Minister for Works, Labor, and Power. That means that was because he had a clear understanding of what he's coming to do. It's not going to be the engineer that will do the work. So I run a construction company. I'm just an administrator as a personal business. I'm in zoology. So because I built a strong institution, I employ the right person to do my work for me. And that's the case in Nigeria too. That the tool at which we work as a nation, once we have qualified permanent secretaries who understand what you're supposed to do, the only role of the political class, political appointee, is to come and implement the manifesto of the party. The integrity of it should be left to the civil servant. Let me give you a clearer example. If you want to run free education now, anybody can be the minister. You will bring your manifesto that we want free education. How do we succeed? So it's the ministry that will ask with how do we raise money to do that? So we must not lose that focus that we want free education for Nigeria. So the same thing to any minister can serve anywhere. What you have is the basic understanding of what your party wants. And what the party wants what do you want at the moment? What the party wants at the moment, which is central to them, is to build a very virile economy. We've been talking about it. We said we run a mixed economy. Of course, we run a capitalist economy. And the capitalist economy, the economy decimal is profit. So expect more privatization. Expect you to pay for virtually everything. Because if you run a capitalist economy, you live a kind of lifestyle that is different from socialism. Socialism is about prudency. But capitalism can become a billionaire. So if you run that kind of economy, room must be open for you to do business. So if you understand this basic principle of capitalism, of what the government wants, you can start. So it's not necessary for you to attach and quickly, you want to say something, or you want? Can I make this? Can I make land?
Okay, just land. Land.
So
going on the break.
Then on bringing in people from other parties, let's make clarification. Some people, because they have read the long work of Freedom by they think they have become political scientists. No. What is the theory of the political process we are practicing that does not allow, it's just the magnanimity of our president that makes him bring in people other parties. It's only in parliamentary that you give a portion of votes you have won equal to it in the number of ministers you get in the parliamentary system. In presidential, it's winner takes all.
Winner takes all.
But a magnanimous president like Tinubu will always do that. And like I said, I agree with him. Because I want to be magnanimous, because I want to appear as the father of Nigeria, I will not go and bring my critic to be a minister under my God. I will not do that. I will only bring someone who is mature enough to know that Nigeria first, party aside. And that is what the people that in the list now has demonstrated in the election.
All right. But when we come back, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this opposition members in the cabinet, as the case may be. We've seen from Rivers and also from Oyo State.